Oh no! Spilthany Drink Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Swaggerboyz album, Perdiendo Rasgos Adolescentes. Yes, this is a brand new album from an Argentinian hip-hop outfit who have been building an insane buzz online, multiple music videos and clips that cumulatively have been building millions of views. And the conversation and attention they have been drawing has been getting louder and louder, even in international circles, to the point where I can't even ignore it. On the surface, though, I was kind of ready to, honestly, not really think too much of the good old Swaggerboyz here, because the vibe comes across like the exact thing that I often find myself trying to tune out when I go on the internet these days. Just these low-effort, terminally online spins on plug music that feel more tapped into internet memes than the legitimate pioneers of the genre. Not to mention, at first glance, Swaggerboyz Prime member STIFFY, as well as August Fortnite 2008. Yes, Fortnite 2008, that's what I said. Yeah, you know, they kind of come across like party boys who have maybe read more tweets than chapters in a good book over the last year. Now look, there's nothing wrong with bangers and making fun music that's geared toward having a good time. But again, it really kind of comes down to the saturation of artists doing something kind of similar these days and just hurriedly dishing out as many cookie-cutter cuts with a deeply unserious nonchalance that they can in the shortest span of time. But I actually was seriously taken aback when I sat down and took the time to listen to this album over here. Again, their third release, which translates roughly to losing teenage traits, or I imagine on some level like losing some sort of like adolescence or youth as you mature and grow older, or as you change as a person. And I gotta say, the Swaggerboyz have hit a really interesting stride creatively and aesthetically with this new run of tracks. Like, it's infinitely more listenable than any of their previous releases, especially Plug Park, which featured a lot of generic Plug style production with so many ad-libs and sound effects and random noises flying at you from every direction. Its worst moments really felt like a parody of its prime musical influences. And the chipmunk flows weren't really helping either, but you know, you gotta start somewhere. But by contrast, on Perdiendo here, the rap flows are a lot catchier and more straightforward, smoother, more head-nodding, and the beats, while still quite distorted and certainly bass-boosted, really blown out like a Brazilian funk song, and sounds like it was made specifically to be played at the highest volume outside on whatever massive sound system will have it, like the high-pitched 808s going dong numerous times on the opening track certainly say as much. Not to mention the rumbling bass frequencies all over this track too that make many of the vocals across this album sparkle and kind of crackle and shake in the mix. And yeah, the number of random noises too has certainly been turned down greatly on these songs, and the grooves and sample work coming off of a lot of these tracks are actually pretty impressive and versatile, be it either the looping hypnotic chants that are all over the opening track that I just mentioned, or the detuned synths and ominous deep vocal fry refrains on Perdi la Fe, a track that stylistically is like a really spine-tingling piece of cloud rap. There's also the gentle wavy synth leads that have almost like a talk box kind of inflection to them all over the track Siente, paired with the glossy synth patches that are all over this track too. The song feels kind of inspired by Blade. Then also the enchanting woodwind leads paired with the hi-hats on UBICAS leaves this track feeling kind of like a Future song, but maybe 4 times more chaotic, blown out, and cluttered. And while for sure I think a lot of people going into this record are going to hit obviously a little bit of a language barrier here, at least for me it didn't stop multiple tracks here from being incredibly catchy. Nunca, nunca, nunca. And not only only are the tracks on this record, again, catchy, visceral, fun, lively, but also there's a really intense, sometimes psychedelic component to these tracks too that I kind of feel like makes this record a game changer in the Swaggerboyz catalog. Like with all the reversed sound effects and samples all over DECIDI, which also features some Minecraft bars too, I should probably mention. And this track, along with LSD and several others, are quite druggy and layered and heavily textured, and not so much in a way to where there's like a disconnection or a lack of energy going into these songs. Quite the contrast. These tracks are active and they are vibrant. They are all over the place and sometimes hard to make heads or tails of. Like on O Trevita, one of the few tracks here where the sound effects and various samples do go a little bit overboard. But for the most part, it's pretty clear that Swaggerboyz want the bulk of this record to be pretty hypnotic, pretty entrancing. I mean, even the track Siente that I mentioned earlier kind of kicks off with this like little guided meditation passage. It's almost sort of infectious, surreal, and otherworldly in a way that reminds me of A$AP Rocky when he first broke onto the scene, but obviously with like a totally different set of touchstones and musical influences going into it, but still going for a similarly immersive and enveloping sound. But I guess that's just kind of like the nature of cloud rap, and you know, a lot of the kind of influences and sounds going into it these days have just changed rapidly over the past 10 years. And I feel like the Swaggerboyz are maybe just like one of the best examples of this, because yeah, a lot of their tracks are quite dark and are quite ominous and are a little strange, but simultaneously very colorful and inviting too. And vibey, yes, but not so vibey to where they're not dishing out flows or refrains that aren't actually sticking in my head. They are doing that, and I think that's led to a record that, while a lot of these songs are very short and brief and to the point, can be listened in multiple mind states and with multiple levels of attention and still be enjoyed. And it's not like all the tracks across this record are all that samey either. There are different sort of like, you know, beat flavors and, you know, sometimes like interesting chants or, you know, musical references from their home country that make this record really unique and interesting. It's a little short, and there are definitely a handful of tracks that pale in comparison to others, and occasionally I am left wanting more. But for the most part, this is still a very fun album from Swaggerboyz over here, and definitely, at least to me, will go down as one of the more interesting rap releases of 2026, which is why I'm feeling a light 8 on it. Transition. Have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video you can check out. Hit that upper link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Swaggerboyz, forever.